This is the live iteration of the program, which I am intending to do Monday through Friday from 12 noon to 1 o'clock or later or earlier, as the case may be. And I take calls. You're welcome to join the program. I believe I'm the only online program that does take live calls like a traditional radio show. And you can do that by calling in at 617-396-4958. That's 617-396-4958. There is so much going on right now that I can't talk about because of censorship, because of political censorship, which is becoming more extreme and more virulent, perhaps in response to more information coming out that contradicts the agenda of the ruling elite. And so, here I am live, and I really don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. Now, look, I am not one to spread misinformation. And I do believe that there needs to be community standards in terms of public discourse, especially when you are using media. And I even think that there ought to be and is certain levels of self-censorship in that regard, which I think I understand. I've been a radio talk show host in Greater Boston at various stations for many years, small stations. The arrangement usually was that I would get a radio show and I would also sell time at the station. And those stations were FCC regulated. And I understood what was permissible and not when I went on the air. And I observed those standards. Maybe at times I might have pushed the envelope a bit, but for the most part, I observed those standards. Hi, how are you? I got a caller here.
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. What's up?
Oh, not much. Just hanging out here in Indiana. How you doing?
I'm good. Doing my live show. I do this thing live both on TikTok and on YouTube and about 10 other live streams. But the problem I'm having is that I feel that I'm afraid to talk about certain things because of censorship. I'll get the whole thing. They'll pull the plug on it all.
They will pull the plug.
I know. And, I'm not some nut who's throwing bombs either. I've been a radio talk show host. I understand community standards. And, I'm not weaving weird conspiracy theories. I'm talking about things that are in the news. I'm discussing issues that should be permissible in a free society. And yet I'm being censored. I feel like I don't know, I'm riding on thin ice. I don't know if I turn on my smartphone and look at my stations, and I'm afraid they're all going to be taken down. They probably all will be. So what are you up to? What do you do?
Hope you don't get taken down.
Thank you. I'm looking into a way to do the show in a format that I can be freer and that I can be uncensored. I'm trying to find, I know that there's a whole alternative market out there right now. So, I'm actually looking into that, by which if I find a venue like that allows me to do the live stream without censorship, I'll probably do the show there every day live, and we'll do like a quick promo on the censored media like YouTube and TikTok, and just simply say, here's what I'm talking about in terms that are digestible for the senses. And here's where to go if you want to hear the show, because I really feel that that I can't discuss the issues that are happening right now because it's just too hot. There's too much hysteria and too much media drum up against any discussion and a censorship of these issues. Look, I'm going to state what those issues are here without getting into them too much. And I'm not staying on very long today. I just want to make a few points. The first issue remains the election of 2020. All right. The people who watch me on TikTok and who read my writings know what I'm talking about here. The second issue, and actually in a way at least as important, is the way the pandemic has been managed by the international elite. I would argue, without getting specifics, that it's being done in a way that is not beneficial to the individual and is not conducive to freedom. And that has very little to do with science, I would add further. But again, I can't get into it because I'm afraid YouTube will censor me. I guess that what I will say, and I'm not going to stay on much longer because again, I feel like I can't talk about anything right now here, is do your own research on these issues. Don't believe the establishment line. Don't believe, the main media. They are not being honest. I'm not going to say they're lying, but I'm going to say that they are slanting it in a way that seems to be suitable to this behemoth-like illuminated establishment and its agenda. And you have to dig for alternative media to get to the truth. I'm going to mention a few quick sources here that are pretty solid. The Gateway Pundit online, I look at it every day. They have reporters out there who are doing the real work of reporting, and they're not phony. James O'Keefe and his Project Veritas, they actually are allowed to be on YouTube somewhat, but they have other venues. He's digging in, he's looking at issues and doing what actually 60 Minutes used to do when Mike Wallace was alive. And also Steve Bannon's War Room Pandemic on Apple. It's still there. He has a huge following, and he has reporters who are doing the footwork. People like Boris Epstein, who's doing an excellent job of reporting on the election and various goings on in the states that, let's just say there's questions in those states. I'm not going to mention which. We know what I'm talking about here. And Peter Navarro, who is a former Trump administration official who has a new book out, by the way, that's excellent. I'm going to try to get him on my show. Patrick Byrne, who's a multimillionaire cyber expert who has a lot to say. Shiva Ayadari is interesting. Seth Keshel. These people are doing digging and they are speaking truths. Sidney Powell, Attorney Powell. Giuliani has a show, Mayor Giuliani, on Apple that is available. He even sometimes is allowed on YouTube. Look, these are sources that are telling truths. We are a society, we're constantly hearing about how we are divided, that we're mobilized. I think that this is because untruths have become so mainstreamed and so blatant that those who are promoting those untruths have circled the wagons to such a degree that anyone who disagrees with them is attacked and denounced. It's almost like a Soviet system. I would also note that those who embrace these official truths in our society today, and those who do so in an atmosphere of terror and fear and suppression, they tend to be divided, I think, into two camps, what I would call the witting and the unwitting. The witting is the ruling elites all over the world, people who, for example, are putting Australia into a slave condition right now. It's almost like it's a country of convicts. You think that the Australian people fled conviction in Britain. Now they're convicts in their own country. Look into it. I'm not going to go into details. And these are people who are fully witting and fully conscious participants in an international agenda that is backed by by big tech, by scientific manipulation. It is permeating the top levels of all of our establishment institutions, the media, academia, certainly the government right now, big business, culture, even religions. They are conscious of what they're doing. They are promoting a big agenda. They're not interested in individual freedom or opinion. They had to get rid of Donald Trump because he stood in the way of this. And by the way, I would suggest that we are entering into an age of Trump. They haven't succeeded fully. They've had victories, of course. Trump is not in office, but they haven't really stopped this movement. They're not going to be able to. And by the way, just for the record, you censors, I recognize that Joe Biden is the president of the United States and that Kamala Harris is the vice president of the United States. I'm not being seditious. I'm not trying to overthrow the government here. That's not my interest. Just for the record. This elite establishment is controlling the narrative using the heavy tools of the law and of the media manipulation. They are fully conscious of the big lies that they're promoting. The second half that I refer to is the unwitting half. Those are people that we all know, may even include a few of you watching right now. It includes our children, our parents, our spouses, our friends, our colleagues, our associates, people we come into contact with every day who are whipped up into a mass hysteria, manipulated by the media. They, for example, a telltale sign is that they despise Donald Trump. They don't know why. They don't understand. It's an emotional thing. They've been manipulated through technology of mass hysteria, technology that actually in modern times was first patented by the Nazis, quite frankly, and the use of media to create a narrative and to create emotional reaction. They can't explain why they hate Trump. They just do, and then they make vague references to something he might have said, and they don't really know. They can't explain it. They have been manipulated. That's the second half of this group, and that's a lot of people. All right, they're not hardcore leftists. They're not fully witting people who want to have a world order. They're not, they don't have any strong, usually particularly strong ideological beliefs. Some of them even are conservatives. But they've been manipulated and they've been whipped up into a frenzy. And that's what we're looking at right now in this country. And it's something that usually was not a part of the American system. And it's something that right now in our own time is particularly dangerous because of the increasing power of mass media and their ability to control that mass media. It can go right to the brain of someone, especially young people and children who are now being, told they have to wear masks. I don't know if you saw this video of this child, I think 4 or 5 years old in nursery school, who took off his mask, and you had thugs surrounding this poor kid, and he's crying, and they're ripping at him to put it on. What are they going to do? Put him in a concentration camp? Look, again, I'm not going to go further here because I'll get censored. I'll probably be censored anyway. Other than to simply leave you with this thought. Wake the hell up. Pay attention and think for yourself. I know we're all working hard. I know we're all trying to earn enough money to pay the 40% of it, which is going into taxes right now. We don't actually keep much of it, and we're trying to stay apace of inflation, where we're seeing products leaving the shelves and we're seeing goods and services shrinking. I understand that. We're busy. But we have to take a little time. Try to dedicate just a few minutes a day, if you can, to looking at alternative medias. When you hear something on the news, you should know that it's either untrue or it's highly shifted. It's highly edited and twisted. Ask questions, look into it, trust your own instincts, trust your own mind, pray. You know, we all could use a little prayer. But listen to yourself and ask yourself if this really makes sense. Learn to do that with every, watch this, do as an exercise, watch the 6 o'clock news, with the big NBC, CBS, ABC, the big networks. And every story they do, ask yourself, why are they doing this? What are they not saying? What is untrue? Or what are they doing to crap this and manipulate and shift it? How am I being manipulated? Learn to do that. Learn to read between the lines. The New York Times, they will tell you the truth, but you have to dig into the story. They usually save it, for the end of the story where they put the bad news, just so they can, for them, just so they can maintain certain levels of credibility. But you have to know how to read the New York Times. I read the New York Times, or at least parts of it, but I understand how to read it. I understand who they are. I understand their orientation politically, and I understand how they write things in a way, and don't write things, more importantly, in a way that further promotes that narrative and that agenda. And that agenda is world control. Anyway, I think on that note, I'm going to stop because I don't want to get into any more trouble. Let me just mention, as a matter of, because I don't have a sponsor, that I have a book out, new book, called The Satanic Conspiracy, The Spectre Haunting Mankind. It's available at Amazon Books still, and it's selling pretty well. I've written many books. This one is doing better than others I've written. Right now, I'm working on a manuscript for a book on conservative sociology. I want to help develop the founding of a new school of sociology, conservative sociology. I'm a sociology student at a college right now. And so that's what I'm doing. But anyway, check out my new book, The Satanic Conspiracy, at Amazon Books. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, especially if you're at TikTok, because I don't know at how long I'm going to be allowed to stay at TikTok. I'm on thin ice at TikTok, believe me. So go to YouTube and please subscribe. And also my website is charlesmoscowitz.com, where you will find links to media outlets that I believe in, and also to almost 30 venues that carry either my live stream or my archived program, including the podcast, which is on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Spotify, and other venues. So anyway, on that note, I'm going to thank you for joining me, everyone. God bless all of you. I believe in this country. I'm not a negative person. I'm positive, because I believe that we will overcome this tyrannical agenda. If anyone doubts how this is manifesting right now, look at the way the border is being managed. Look at the way the pandemic is being managed. Look at the way Afghanistan was managed. Look at the economy and the fact that we're entering into major inflation, which is ripping off the working man's dollar. And look at this racist critical theory being pushed in schools. These are proof enough. These are the telltale signs of what the establishment has in mind. I could go into details, and am going into details right now in my new book, and we'll do more talk on it, but right now I'm going to leave it right there. Anyways, once again, thank you for joining me, everyone. God bless you all. Have a great afternoon.